are you? How is everything with you?
Good. You're my last one for the day.
Well, that's good. Been busy doing a lot of interviews.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
That's always a good sign, isn't it?
Well, hopefully. Hopefully. It's a good omen at least.
And for this record, when did you guys start the songwriting for the album?
When did we start?
Yeah.
Um, probably say somewhere 16 to 18 month mark,
So
a year and a half ago.
so still in the pandemic or
No. Uh no, because we already released an album since then.
yeah,
What is it? August now. So yeah, probably like last March, April-ish.
yeah. But the pandemic years they kind of took the sense of time.
Yeah, I don't have too much of a grasp of it. I live out here in Florida. We didn't really experience anything. We didn't have any of it.
You went through well to that phase anyway, so it was all
Yeah,
good.
I mean, I was going to the gym every day, went to the grocery store just fine. I was going to the movies. Yeah, life didn't really change here.
Yeah. And well, live shows anyway. Did you felt any difference because obviously here in Europe we were without shows for a good while. You guys were early on the road there in the States. Did you felt any difference when you went back to the live setting?
Um, Backstage, yes, there was a lot of annoyances. Obviously, people who were had very high concerns were being overly cautious, which was it made it very not enjoyable. Um, Kind of the one of the perks of touring is we spend our entire we spend our entire like childhoods on tour. Uh, my friends don't live here, like near me. If I'm gonna go drive to see one of my friends, I'm looking at about a 4 to 5 hour drive, either direct, like both ways, to go see my friends. So, like I live far away from everyone, so like I see my friends on tour.
Yeah.
When you're on tour and you're told you're not allowed to, I mean, I did it anyway, but it definitely took the fun out because I don't particularly enjoy touring. I like playing shows, but I don't like touring itself. So then when you also remove like, and you're not allowed to see anyone, I'm like, well, I don't want to fucking be here at all then. Outside of that, no, like the actual environment of the shows themselves, no, there isn't really a difference. I think some people who maybe took longer off or haven't been used to being away for a little bit, maybe feel like there was a difference, but I mean, we've done it a lot,
Yeah.
and I don't realistically think there was any difference before to after.
Yeah. Well, what is the thing about touring that it's not enjoyable? It's the long drives between gigs.
Long drives, stuck on a tour bus, limited access to resources and just everyday life stuff. You're, I mean, confined in a small space or a different small space with the same people for weeks and weeks and weeks on end. The only privacy you get is a little curtain. That's it. That's your only privacy. Or the inside of a bathroom. Um, that's it. And I mean, yeah, long days that mostly are filled with nothing to do was a very frustrating part of it
Yeah.
because you're sat. Like I would say, probably on average, a good 12 hours a day is sat not doing anything. But you can't go do anything because you have to be ready for if you need to do something. So a good 12 hours is sat staring at a white wall of a room that hasn't been decorated and usually doesn't have air conditioning.
Can you not try to be, have you tried to find ways to be productive somehow when you're, let's say you're stuck on a bus, you're stuck in a dressing room? Is there nothing that you have tried that could like
Oh
take,
yeah, I mean, I've run multiple companies, so I'm on the phone a lot, but on the bus, your challenges are very spotty Wi-Fi and internet and cell service. So a lot of the time, like you don't have particularly great access to your phone or the internet anyway. Um, there isn't very much space, so you're spending most of it in the bunk. And then in the dressing room, again, it all comes down to space. Sometimes your seat is the floor or the arm of a sofa because you've got a tour with 16 people in the band and crew and 5 chairs in a dressing room.
Yeah.
It's the size of a small hotel room for everyone and their stuff, and the table for putting drinks and basically potato chips on. I say as productive as I can, but like you don't really get that much opportunity to go out and do stuff because
Yeah.
you have little things throughout the day that you have to be there for. So it's like, cool, now I have 45 minutes and I can't go do anything, so I'm just gonna sat here. The shows make up for it. I mean, clearly I've done it for 15 years now.
Yeah.
The shows make up for it, but yeah.
What would be the perfect touring way for you?
Teleportation machines. I can show up to the stage 5 minutes before I go on and walk off stage and go and be back home again. I mean, it's if I'm able to go home after, or at least somewhere that feels like home.
Yeah.
Awesome, amazing.
Yeah. I've seen tour buses, and I wouldn't be able to be on one because I'm claustrophobic, and the bunk beds, fuck no. No.
The one we just had in Europe, laid flat. I couldn't put my arm forward on a 90-degree angle. It was that low. I couldn't put my arm there.
No,
I couldn't sleep. I couldn't sleep on my side because I've got wide shoulders.
Yeah.
I couldn't sleep on my side. The ceiling wasn't high enough for me to sleep on my side. It was about that far off my nose, the ceiling.
That's like a freaking coffin.
Yeah.
It's yeah. I wouldn't be able. I've seen, and I'm like, no.
I don't know how the taller guys do it. I mean, James is like 6'1", 6'2", Cameron 6'3", 6'4". I'm 6 foot, like a hair up, about 6 foot, and like when my head's on the pillow, my feet are touching the bottom.
Yeah.
If I stretch out, my head's touching the top, my feet are touching the bottom, and I can't turn on my side.
And I always sleep on my side anyway. I'm not Dracula, I can't. Yeah. It's crazy. Anyway, and writing, a lot of musicians use writing as a way to kind of exercise some demons. They find it cathartic at times as well. What is songwriting for you?
It's definitely got that in it. I write a lot, usually from a very personal place, and it's my therapy because I don't know how to talk about my feelings. So it's yeah, that's my therapy. Of course, I mean, I'm a songwriter, so I also write things that are on consignment. So it's sometimes I'm writing bits for stuff that's nothing to do with me. But I do like to write very personally. This Asking album's the first thing I've done as like a large quantity of music that wasn't written personally. Usually it's just like a song here and there. This was the first like project that was like not from a personal place where like, hey, here's the intention of the completed product. How do we get there?
You like that approach?
It has its upsides and downsides. There's less creative freedom, but sometimes that constraint's a good thing because you have a sense of direction already.
Yeah.
You don't have to come up with the entire concept.
Yeah.
You already have the roadmap of what needs to be done.
Do you need the music to write the lyrics?
No. No, this is my writer's pad. I probably have a good 200-300 songs in there that have never had a note put on them at all. But like I'll be sat on a plane and just writing a song, or I'll be in the back of a car just writing. I don't have an instrument with me, so they're just songs full of words and no tune. I'll get around to them one day.
But when do you know that the lyric fits that music? because
Um,
sometimes I'm when I was younger, I used to have a notepad. I still do. I cannot write on the phone. I still have to write on the I still have to write with pen and paper. I cannot
yeah,
I cannot write on the phone. And I feel like writing on a notepad, it's more flowing for me. Even preparing like an interview, I have to write it, because if I'm on a computer and on a keyboard, the, I get trapped in my mind.
I think in a former life I may have been a doctor because I don't even know what my handwriting says. Um, that I'd be useless at that. No, I mean, everything just lives in my notepad. Usually, as I'm writing, um, even if I have lyrics, I'll find those lyrics later on. It's usually, I mean, for the most part, I'm writing on unless I'm specifically writing like for an Ask Alexandria song. Usually, it'll start on guitar, but if I'm just like writing in general, I'll kind of. I'll kind of just move along there. And I'll kind of get where the vowels are, and at some point a line will come to me, and that's kind of the start of whatever the song's gonna be, is whatever that first lyric is.
Yeah.
And from there you just kind of freestyle it out until there's something, and kind of keep track as you go with like voice notes and voice memos. Yeah, that's actually nice.
Yeah.
I'll remember that. I'm gonna write that one after this.
And when you were writing a lyric, when it's personal, what was the one that was like the hardest for you to sing? If there ever was one that for you was, what did you, what people might think, what your bandmates might think, you ever think when you're writing what other
Oh,
people?
100%, and that's a tough obstacle to overcome, because as when you're writing the words, as you're going, people want to see the words and read the words and hear the words, and especially saying them back, you feel so stupid and vulnerable, especially with stuff that you don't want to be saying, which is kind of the point from a person like my standpoint. So that's always the scary bit, and I don't like to. I'm like, just let me finish it, and then I will leave, and you can listen back, and I'll text you all the lyrics when I'm not here. So that's definitely its own little challenge. There've been a lot of hard songs over the years. Yeah, I mean, I've gotten in there. I've gotten deep over the years. There's been a lot. There's been a lot. There are some songs that to this day I've never talked about, because they're just kind of there for me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's very common, very prevalent, and almost without exception every single time.
Yeah.
If it's a deep song, if it's something fun and funky and like rocky, like cool, I'll tell you those lyrics all day long because I feel like Steven Tyler. Just saying cool shit. But when it comes to the emotional stuff, yeah, it's tough.
Well, was there any lyric that was like so abstract, but it was just fun? Because as you were saying, you use fun words in it, but they actually don't. It's just supposed to be fun and not make that much sense.
Oh yeah. Wait, what's the? Hang on, I'm gonna pull up the lyrics so I get it right. But it was on "Like a House on Fire," which is my favorite Alexandria album. Where are you? Jokingly, the guys wanted to make this the album title, which I thought would have been hilarious. Where are you? It's from the song "Take Some Time," I believe. Where is it? Yeah, it's in the bridge. The first two lyrics are "Hot Sweat, Love Drip," and they wanted to call the album "Love Drip" because they thought it was So gross. And in my head, I'm like, it's Steven Tyler, David Lee Roth all fucking day. But yeah, that's one of them. I mean, the Harlot album, front to back, that's all that album is just a bunch of David Lee Rothisms.
Yeah.
I think, yeah, those things are super fun to write. And that's the cool part about doing like full on rock and roll songs,
Yeah.
where you get to just be quirky and just a little bit out there. And like you've lost your mind a bit.
But it's fun for you, as a songwriter. Sometimes people can interpret the songs very differently. I've seen people, for the same song have completely opposite meanings of what I thought it was or whatever. Has anyone come to you saying that one specific song meant so much, and as the person was explaining to you what the song meant to her, that you were like, it's nothing like that?
Almost all of them. Definitely. So it happens a lot with anything at all, anything off the first album, because not one of those songs was written as a song. Each one was like my notes app, and it was like one, maybe two lines, end of lyric. And I just pieced ones that were like, oh, those two kind of rhyme, so I'll put those next to each other. And I just did like a little shitty what's the Tetris. I did a little shitty lyrical Tetris. That's all I did for the first album. Not one of those things goes together, is meant to go together, was written together. It's nonsense. But those songs mean a lot to people, and that's something I try to respect and not tell them that. Because when I say they don't mean anything, it's nonsense, they take that as like the song that means so much to me, you're telling me it shouldn't, and it doesn't. I mean, that's not it at all. Saying as a writer, the words didn't mean anything because they were just little bits of I just stuck them all together. Although that's a near rhyme, I'll just put that in there.
Is rhyming important?
If it's done correctly, yes. You have to learn how to use it.
Yeah.
It's a very easy crutch to fall on. You have to learn about different rhyming patterns and a lot of near rhyme stuff, and know when not to rhyme. Sometimes there's like a couple of my favorite verses I've ever written don't have a single rhyme in them, and they're done purposefully, or it'll rhyme up until a certain point, and then all of a sudden there's just a word that doesn't rhyme and it doesn't fit within the pattern at all, and it kind of stands out, and it makes itself more powerful that way.
Yeah.
It's placed in a way that is supposed to stand out, so your brain notices it right away.
Yeah, that's a good technique, actually. I was listening to some interviews from bands and producers, and one of the things they talk about is subtle changes sometimes in a lyric that might sound the same, but there's something different there that actually makes people get the attention back to the song again.
Yeah, the human brain is so stupid. If you don't give it a reason to pay attention, it will stop paying attention. Even if it likes the thing, it just goes into like a meditative state where it's just like everything kind of clouds over, and you're enjoying it, but nothing's standing out. And then if you all of a sudden throw like something out of left field, your brain goes, wait, what was that? All of a sudden it grabs the attention again. So having those things in there is super useful for kind of retaining someone's ear.
Yeah. And speaking about the album title, where do we go from here? Where would you like to go from here?
Right now, a hot tub on a beach, but I think so many answers to that question, which was kind of what inspired the song to begin with. I know the answer, but I also know that I'm answering a bigger question, and there are about 5 million answers between now and the answer to that question. Yeah. I know where I want to end up. So where do we go from here is more so, how do I get there? What are the steps? What are the changes? What are the lessons that I need to learn and go through and find in order to be the person I want to be and get out of life what I want out of life? So that's the question's how, not what now.
Does the way we as humans are treating the planet, that is it something that weighs much in your mind? Or are you just like, when the world is going to be fucked up, I won't be here, so I don't care?
It's a hard one because all of the information given to us, for the most part, whether we like them or not, or their takes or not, are being given to us by people much more intelligent than us. Generally, within the science world, mostly. And some of them are contradicting each other. And it's easy for us to pick a side when we don't know what the fuck they're talking about. So it's one that I think about, but I don't let it ruin my day too much. There's a lot of very interesting arguments on both sides, but I mean, not only within how we treat the world and what the world's evolutionary and its cycles are or aren't, but everything from the human experience to the experience of gender and race and politics and everything. At the end of the day, I think we all forget that we're a bit dumb and we're choosing which person's information to trust.
Yeah.
That we don't know what they're talking about. Sometimes on TikTok, I get stuck in these flat Earth rabbit holes, and I go, they've got some really good points, and I have to remind myself that if you use enough words that I know are words, and I don't really know what they mean, but I can kind of get the gist of it, and you say them convincingly enough, I'll believe you because you sound like you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I think that's the same on both sides. We don't know if there's an ice wall with a bunch of other places behind it in Arctic, and that's why it's so heavily guarded. We don't know. We don't know if the engines of my very not eco-friendly cars are going to kill us all. We don't know. Because we can say this is the warmest the Earth's been in 7 million years. According to what data? They weren't keeping track 7 million years ago. We don't fucking know. We're theorizing and we don't know. So I try and just sit here and write my little songs. I'm trying to know my place.
Yeah.
I don't fucking know.
It's very easy because of social media. We have the Pope here in Portugal. He's going to stay until Sunday. I'm not a religious person by any means, and I don't like organized religion in any way. Any type of organized religion, it's not me. I respect people that like to go to church, people that, decided to follow a deity. I have no issues with that. I just don't believe in any of it. And I still believe I can be a better person by trying to be the best I can to other people. That's
ultimately is the core value of it. I think it's when people take things too far that where the problems arise. Ultimately, if we all approach life in that exact same way that you just said, regardless of what we believe, we're going to be in a better place and everyone will be much happier for it.
Yeah, and because of the Pope, the way opinions are, extreme from one side to the other, my brain is just like tired. I cannot stand people, and it's like, why do we have to be like this? So extreme with, opinions. I mean, it's fine we have strong opinions of stuff we believe, but this is pointless.
I think the word opinion is a very important one within that, because that's ultimately what it is, because we don't know. It's also an interesting thing with belief, where by definition, to believe in something, you don't know it. Otherwise, you just know it. You wouldn't believe it. You know it.
Yeah.
Like it's within the definition is to have faith that something that you do not know if it's real is real.
Yeah.
So it's an important note that you had where it was a good choice of words where it's opinions, because that's what it is. And the beautiful part of opinions is we won't fucking know who's right until it's
Yeah.
too late.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, it's, when it comes to these things, I really don't, social media for me, I understand it's a great tool, for a guy like you who's a musician and, needs to spread the word about the art that you do. I have a radio show. I need to use social media to promote the show, but I'm so tired of it.
I hate it. I hate it, but it is like you say, it's an invaluable tool, and unfortunately, against literally my own knowledge that I'm creating my own fucking problem, is I just keep coming up with shit to put out. If I just stop, I could stop. I could stop. Fucking yesterday, I put up available my new book, my new photo book, Dark Horse by Danny Worsnop, which is the studio recording photo documentary of recording See What's on the Inside, which is available at dannyworsnop.com. So I keep finding new stuff I have to promote.
Yeah. You
If I just cut it the fuck out, I could delete Instagram today.
Yeah.
But me and my stupid brain.
And you're into photography?
I am. I've been a photographer for the last 12, 13 years.
Cool. I've been for 20. And I still suck at it. No, I don't suck. But sometimes the only thing I do live concerts. That's what I'm passionate about.
Yep.
And that's what I like, to try to capture the energy of the band on stage. And I cannot do portraits. I'm not very good at it. But what drove you to photography and
it was largely I wasn't getting the pictures out of people I wanted. Like I could see what I wanted, but I couldn't figure out how to explain it to people. So I just started doing it myself. I started doing live concert stuff, which was a blast. I eventually kind of got bored of it, but I think it was more so because it was just another thing within my workday. Let me see if I can. How do I share screen? Yeah. Oh, I was going to show you, but I can't share screen on this. Yeah, I started with that, and then I do more kind of fashion editorial stuff now, but a little bit of documentary stuff as well. I mean, like I did in this, and for a few different things within my life. But yeah, the live thing was fun. It gets harder the further you get into your career as a musician.
Yeah.
Like 13 years ago, I could pretty comfortably hang around in the photo pit and people wouldn't know.
Yeah. Now,
like 10 years ago, I could put a hood up. People start noticing these days.
And for me, the thing, it's when I'm shooting, sometimes I get so engrossed in what I'm doing that I forget to look at the camera sometimes to see if everything is correct. Then when I get home, download the photos and start working on them, I just look at the photos and I'm like, what the fuck was I doing?
Yeah.
What is the camera that we use? Just wrap it up. I know
what do I have at hand right now? I have a Leica SL2 and a Leica Q2 right here. I love the Leica M system. I've shot a lot with Canon. I shot with all the 5Ds. And I've been intrigued by a couple of the Canons that my friends have used as of late. Like the R5 seems quite interesting. I think mostly they interest me because the lenses for this fucking thing, about $8,000 a lens. I can get like an entire Canon system for that.
Yeah. I was looking at the Leica cameras, and when I saw the price, I'm like, yeah, no. I would love to.
For what you do though, they'd be horrible because the autofocus is not that quick. They're not fantastic low light cameras. With the exception the M bodies with especially the monochromes, are really nice in low light. But it's all everything's manual, so you're moving a lot slower. And
Yeah.
it's rangefinder, so like you really gotta start knowing how to quick focus with those. It's a challenge.
Yeah.
Um, I've
I
done a
have,
couple. I did Shine Down with the M, and that I got some really good stuff out of it. But you're getting like a 30, if you're lucky, 40% hit rate.
yeah. No, I have the R system. I have the R6 and the R6 Mark II. That's
Yeah,
my to-go cameras for the live shows. And, you know, I just changed the lenses now to the RF system as well.
okay.
So, it's almost perfect. I just click too much. That's my problem.
Hey, I mean, I did that for a long time. I work way slower now, but that's because I shoot a lot in medium format as well. Um, so I learned to work a lot slower.
Yeah.
Um, there was a few of mine from I just sent a few of mine that were, oh, that must have been 12 years ago. Um, that was back on the 5D Mark II, so that was shortly after that came out.
That's Slipknot Lemmy and
Yeah,
Slipknot again. But the
listen
actual
again.
awesome.
There's what ones I downloaded on this computer. Yeah, I don't remember what I was saying.
Yeah, no, these photos they are great. And I'm still from the time where we use film. So,
Yeah,
back then I really had to pick and choose the moments to shoot.
yeah.
And the problem with digital now, it's you can just click, click, click.
Film's expensive. Film is expensive. These things are cheap.
Yeah.
They're cheap, and you only ever really need to buy one.
I have like in the attic upstairs, I have, not exaggerating, but I have like 20 boxes just of film negatives from a few years of concerts that I did. You know,
So cool. The only reason I haven't moved to film is because I know one of the rooms in my house will get converted into a dark room.
yeah,
I will be traveling the world looking for these rare expired films, and I will go so overboard with it. I'll go broke. I will go broke just seeking down film. I'll have a bunch of 500 CMs, and I'll be shooting medium format, acros, everything.
yeah. But it's it was a lot of fun, and you kind of learned that you really had to pick your moments to
Yeah,
photograph. Nowadays, it's very easy. Again, with an SD card, you can just shoot plenty of them. But you know, working on film and slowly into digital because the cards weren't that big anyway in the beginning, so you still had to pick and choose. I look at concerts I've made, and I had like 40 or 50 shots. Now I have 1,000 if I do a concert.
so I try and implement it a little bit with I only use small cards, and I have two card slots. I only use one, and I try and train myself or force myself to think that way, where I'm going for moments, not just shooting, hoping I get something. Um, I'll go on like a documentary shoot, and I'll come back with maybe 100 pictures, but a good 70 to 80 of those are like, we're good.
Yeah,
They're the ones.
yeah, that's to be the frame of mind when you go into something like that. It's you need to get the shots. It's like doing. I did a band shoot recently, and I don't like doing that, but I did because they're friends of mine. And I just did like 120 shots of them, and I'm talking about the whole band and then individual shots,
Yeah.
and that was it. And I was all of them were good, so that was less. Sometimes it's, I won't say more because then envy would not agree with me. Envy mounts it with how can less be more.
Yeah.
Anyway, Danny, thank you very much for your time. It was
Absolutely.
a pleasure to talk to you. Hope to see you guys again in Portugal soon. You guys only played here once. I saw you
Yeah.
download in 2015 with the other band that you had, that gap. It was really nice to see you on that stage as well. And I really enjoy the music that you do. I like the more rock and roll stuff, to be honest.
Oh, yeah.
I'm a bit old school.
Yeah. I've been working on a bunch more.
All right, Danny, thank you very much for your time. All the best. Hope to see you guys soon in Portugal.
Absolutely.
All right.
Take it easy. It was a pleasure.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Bye bye.